All right, so in yesterday's stuff, we learned that a chord is what? What's a chord? Flip back, look at your definition. Yeah, so its endpoints are on the circle. Okay, so in this case, my two chords in here are what? AB and CD are my two chords, correct? All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about chords, okay? Two chords are congruent if and only if, okay? That means that the definition has to be perfect. So their corresponding arcs are congruent. Okay, so in this case, we could say that AB equals CD. If what? What are my corresponding arcs? It would be arc. Oh no, arc. BFE, did you say? BFE is not an arc. E is the center of the circle. The arc is the stuff on the outside. Okay, AB would be the arc. Okay, so if the measure of arc AB, and when we're talking about arcs, you need to put a little arc over the letters. Okay, so if AB equals CD, then the measure of AB, or arc AB, equals the measure of which arc? Which arc goes with CD? CD, haha. Crazy how that works, huh? Okay, all right, it also works if the chords are equidistant. What do you suppose equidistant means? Equal distance. From the center. Okay, so AB, again, would be equal to CD if, okay, how far or what segment tells us how far AB is from the center? FE, yep, or EF. So EF would have to equal EG, yep, because EG is the distance from CD. Okay, so far so good? Okay, if the diameter or the radius is perpendicular, to a chord. What does it mean to be perpendicular? It's definitely something we should know. What? They intersect at a right angle or form a right angle, yep. Okay, so if the diameter of the radius is perpendicular to a chord, then it bisects the chord and its arc. Okay, so if we're looking at this part of the circle up here, who is perpendicular to who? Okay, try not necessarily HF because it needs to either be a diameter or a radius. So what would my radius be? HE, so EH, if EH is perpendicular to, what's my chord? AB. Okay, so if those are perpendicular, and remember our perpendicular symbol is this. Okay, then, okay, it says it bisects the chord. So if my chord is AB, and it bisects that chord, who is congruent? AF is going to be equal to FB, yep. it's going to bisect the arc. So if we're looking at that arc AB, and it bisects the arc, who is congruent? Arc AH, so the measure of arc AH is equal to the measure of the arc HB. Yep. Remember, when we're talking arcs, you have to have that arc over the top, otherwise I'm going to think you're talking about a line. Okay, if there's nothing over it, then it's a line. You got to have the arc over it so that we know we're talking about the arc. Okay? So, let's put that into practice. Okay? It says that my chords are congruent, so that means my who are congruent. My arcs are congruent. So if my arcs are congruent, what can I set up? 7x plus 24 equals 115. 7x equals 91. X equals 13. Boom. Okay, nothing big, right? Okay, over here, my arcs are congruent, so what do I know about my chords? They're also congruent. So 18x minus 2 equals 52. 18x equals 54, and x is 3. Okay, now be careful. Sometimes your directions are asking for x. Sometimes your directions are asking for xy. If it's asking for xy, what do I have to do with my x? Yeah, we just have to plug it in. Okay, this one, same thing, asking for rs. All right, let's get to some harder ones. How, in number 5, okay, so we have two congruent chords, right? So what do we know about the two arcs? That the arcs are congruent, yep. Okay, but how are we going to be able to figure out what x is? Yeah, we know that this is going to equal this guy, right? And so there's two of them that are going to be the same, right? Okay, so 2 times my 6x minus 20 plus who? Plus that 76. We know that that whole thing is going to have to equal what? 360, because it's a circle. Right? So what do we have to do right here? Distribute, so I get 12x minus 40 plus 76 equals 360. Now we've got to combine like terms, so 12x plus 36 equals 360. 12x equals 324, and x is 27. Verbal? So far so good, right? Alright, so this says that MP and PN, and we're supposed to find MP. What do I know about MP and PN? Why are they congruent? Because they're perpendicular. So if they're perpendicular, then they're equidistant. Okay? So they're going to be equidistant from that arc, or from the center. So 5x minus 34 equals 2x minus 4. 3x equals 30. X equals 10. Questions how we got that? Okay, so is that what they're asking for is x? No. So we want MP, so we got to plug it in for MP. So 5 times 10 is 50 minus 34. So MP equals 16. All right, so this one says DE and FG. Okay, what do we know about DE and FG? They're congruent. Why? How do we know that they're congruent? Yep, well, because they're equidistant, yep, from their perpendiculars. Okay. All right, this one, they want MP. So if we're looking at 8, what do we have to find first? Let's find the congruent arcs, okay? So if I'm finding my congruent arcs, how am I going to set it up? I'm not sure why some of us aren't writing this down. Okay, so I have, what do I have on this side? Equals 76, so x is 19. All right, so if x is 19, what's this arc? What's MN? $128, and that makes this guy what? 128. So now do I have enough information to find MP? I do, because now and how am I going to find it? Yep, so I'm going to take 360 and I can subtract those guys. So the measure of MP equals who? 104 degrees. Okay, when you're talking about the measure of an arc, you're going to label it as degrees. Okay. All right, now for some good stuff. It tells us that RS is 18. Tells us that TY, this little guy, is 42. Right? Okay, so if RS is 18, what's TU? Has to be 18 because they are perpendicular, so that means that my two chords are congruent, right? Okay, so if TU is 18, what's TV? 9. Why is it half? Because it bisects it. Yep, because the radius bisects it, so it's going to split it into 2 spots. So what's WS? 9 as well. Okay, what's YU? 42, because again it bisects it. 42 degrees, and RS is going to be 84, yep, because RS is the whole arc. So we've got to double it. Because if this is 42 and this is 42, it's going to make the whole thing 84. Okay? Be careful if you're being asked for a part or a whole. Okay, so this tells us BG is 17. CHA is 256. So this whole thing is 256, right? So how are we going to go about finding my other arcs? No. Okay, so first we got a minus 360. Yes. So when I subtract 360 minus 256, I get what? 104. So both of these together is 104. So AB has to be 52. So that's who? AB. So that means BC is 52. And that means EC is arc BC. We're right here. Yep, I skipped those first two first. Sorry, that was partially my fault. Okay, so if we jump back up, we know BG is 17, right? So then what's BC? 34, yep, because I got to double that because it's a bisector. And FB is going to be 17, yep, good. Okay. In number 11, QM and MR are, they're congruent, yep, because they're both parts of it. This one, CI, arc CI, and arc EF. How am I going to do that? Yeah, or times CI by 2, which I think might be a little bit easier for us. So 2 times CI is 7x minus 15 equals 12x minus 8. So when I distribute this, I get 14x equals 12x minus 8. So 2x equals 22. So x equals 11. But is that what they're asking for? No. No. So the measure of arc CI equals 62. Yep. 62 what? Degrees. Good. All right, if we look at number 13, how? Oh, look at you guys remembering old Pythagoras, and that he's not going to go away this chapter either. Man, but can I find VW right away? No, but I can find half of him, right? Okay, so how am I going to set it up? Yep, so what's 5 squared? 25 plus? No. Plus b squared or x squared equals 169. Be careful that you know the difference between your hypotenuse and your legs. So b squared equals 144. So b is 12. Therefore, VW is 24. Okay? We're going to skip 14, even though it's super fun. You guys don't know what you're missing out on. HK is 30. PM is 8. PM is 8. So what's PN? 8. What other piece of information do I need? Because remember, we're looking for pH, so we want this guy. We need HN. What is HN? 15. Good. Where is my right angle? At what letter? Huh? Right here, right? Because if this is the right angle, this is a right angle. If this is a right angle, this is a right angle, right? Okay, it's not at K. I don't know why that's funny. Okay, so how am I going to set this up? Pythagorean theorem. So I'm going to get 225 plus 64 equals x squared or c squared, either one. So I get 289 equals x squared. So pH equals 17. Okay, not so bad, right? Yes, no? Okay.